So Bitcoin's been seeing some volatility for the past few days and whatnot since breaking above 69,420. We're currently below it. So I think the weekly close will be more telling about like what direction we're gonna go. If we close the weekly close above 69,420, then I think we're gonna see a continuation up. However, if we don't, then I do think we'll see some sort of pullback. This would serve as like a rejection right here, which would actually be pretty healthy for the trend since we've been up only since 38,000. So the possibilities would be pulling back to around 60,000 and then coming up, or pulling back to maybe even 52,000, 53,000, and then coming up. And this would only be if we close the weekly below 69,420. So I'm not saying that this is going to happen. I'm just saying if we close the weekly below that price, then I think we might end up seeing something like this. But if we close above it, then I think we're just going to continue up toward 80,000, maybe even 90,000. But historically, breaking below the prior cycle's all-time high has not been, I'm going to have to go to this one, has not been damaging. It's just something that um, we've seen before. If you look right here, we broke above and then got rejected and then had a red weekly candle and then broke upward. That was in the previous cycle in 2020. Right here, this was in 2017. We broke above it. We closed the weekly above it. The previous cycle's all-time high. Then closed the weekly below it. So that was the rejection. And then we saw the cascading pullback. And then we continued up. So either way, if we do end up seeing a pullback, I don't think it would be something out of the norm. It'd be completely normal. And I think it would actually be healthy for the trend because the trend has been an uptrend just for so long of higher highs and higher lows. And this would still be just another higher low, even if we pull back. At this point, we would need to go below around 40,000 to create a higher or lower low. I'm gonna go to Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance. So despite all the people that are bullish on it, it has done absolutely nothing since October, and you hear a lot about the Bitcoin dominance. And I was saying at this time in September, as you guys know, I was saying, hey, the time to rotate into alts is probably now. It's kind of like getting late to be like bearish on them. So if you did that and if you played obvious coins like Solana, Chainlink, the AI coins, all the ones that have been all over Twitter that everyone knows about, they're no secret. You likely have outperformed Bitcoin since then. So I know I have, and I know a lot of people who played alts around this time and since then who also have. And if you look back, this was in the previous cycle when Bitcoin broke all-time highs. It essentially marked the top right here on the following weekly candle and then proceeded to crash. If we look right here, marked the top around this area between these two weekly candles. I'm not sure if this was this week or last week. I can't remember. Regardless, I think it's going to mark the top, and I think this is going to break down. And if you just think logically, right? So we had the Bitcoin ETF get approved. It couldn't break it out of this range. That was in January. We had all the ETF buying from Wall Street. Still couldn't break it out of this range. Then we had Bitcoin break all-time highs. And guess what? Rejected again. So if you have probably three of like the most bullish catalysts in Bitcoin history, all-time highs, ETF approval, ETF buying in massive numbers, if that doesn't break Bitcoin out of this range, then what will? More ETF buying. And to consider too is the Ethereum ETF is probably, if it does get approved, it would be on May 23rd, so that's coming up. And I think we'll see a rotation into Ethereum from the Bitcoin ETF, which people that like Bitcoin won't want to hear. But this is normal, in any market, the highest alpha play, when it goes up, you see people rotate into lower or the lower beta plays that are close to it. Like we're seeing with like NVIDIA, and then we're seeing other computer AI stocks, AI crypto stuff seeing upside because people are rotating down the risk curve. So I think the top is in for Bitcoin dominance. I mean, I've been saying it for a while. So that's not really a surprise. Let's see what else we could look at. Ethereum, there's support here. We might pull back to around 3,600. I think eventually we're going to break all-time highs just like Bitcoin. That's not really surprising. PEPE, this coin has been amazing. If you bought down here when I posted about it, then you saw a lot of upside, and I think it's gonna go higher. I think it needs like a 5 to 6x to reach Doge's and Sheeb's market cap. So I would speculate that it's probably gonna like reach up to those market caps at some point this cycle, which would mean at least like another 5 to 6x from where it is now. We'll see what happens, but I think there's a lot of momentum behind PEPE. It hasn't been listed on Coinbase yet. It probably will at some point. So that would all be beneficial leading into it. Probably after we'll see a sell-off though. Is there any other alts? A lot of stuff is getting slammed right now, so it's hard to say. Render, I think it's gonna continue higher. We might see a pullback, but I think the AI stuff will continue to push. FET up a lot, might see a pullback, but I think the AI stuff, like I've been saying for a while, in which everyone knows, everyone on Twitter, everyone knows the AI stuff is pushing, and it's probably going to continue to push. It's been like the best performers of this cycle, or the best sector. There's been better coins out there. Some layer ones have done really well. So Bitcoin's currently at 67,440. So we'll just see how the weekly close goes, and then if the weekly close, if it recovers above it, then we'll probably continue up. If it doesn't, we'll probably retest these ranges, and this might maybe be beneficial for alts. Maybe the money will flow into alts. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Just don't get shaken out. Don't lose your positions. This is not the top of the bull market. The bull market hasn't even started. We haven't even seen any hype at all. If anything, it's like the counter hype when we broke 20,000 in 2020. As far as I remember Twitter, YouTube, everyone like people I know like being excited. Right now, like no one cares. I don't know like what is going on, but I think it's also because back then this was literally retail breaking this out. This was retail driven. This time, this is all Wall Street, so retail's not really here yet, and that's a good thing if you like higher prices. I mean, some people don't. Some people want lower prices because they're shorting it, but if you like higher prices, that's probably like a good sign. So we'll see what happens with this pullback, and we'll see how the weekly candle closes.